Welcome to our Wednesday evening meditation, guided meditation. If you're joining us from afar, from outside the monastery, and 5 nights a week, typically 5 nights a week we gather here. We gather in the mornings, early morning. The women's community has a lovely small meditation hall, Dhamma hall, down near their cottages. It's really, I find I haven't been in there very many times, but a very peaceful place. We have this lovely hall here on the main site of the monastery. These are sort of physical refuges, and quiet space. It's not used typically for, too many different things, and it's available. Quiet place to go. It's got shrines, Buddha image, Buddha statue, maybe other iconography, candles, incense, flowers, things that can be, if we use them skillfully, they can be uplifting. Reminders. And as I said, we typically gather early in the morning and then in the evening. But we don't all have the opportunity to live in a monastery or even want to. It's a very particular place and way of living, but we might want to visit there. But also we might be somewhere where that's just impossible or just too far, too difficult, or we might have some limitations of some sort. And so, as I've heard one of my elders, one of my teachers, it's the monastery is in the heart. It's your own place of refuge, and we can create also very supportive places. Not all of us. We might have situations which make it very difficult, but a place where we can either go outside of where we live or also inside. In particular, find if we don't have an extra room or a room, but maybe a corner of a room where we can create like a space. Maybe make a shrine. Doesn't need to be a Buddha shrine, but some sort of maybe objects of focus that are wholesome, supportive, uplifting, good reminders for us to lean towards peace, lean towards clarity, lean towards wholesomeness. Needn't be complicated, very simple, or just to really tidy, maybe organize a part of the room, excuse me, and keep that, really make an effort to keep that area tidy, clean, dust-free. Maybe just a low table with some flowers on it, or any sort of object, a beautiful stone, or something, plant, photograph. And of course, if we're in a situation where we have an extra room, or a room that is more seldom used, that we can maybe set aside, this is also can be very helpful, but it's not necessary. helpful but not necessary. And I find for myself it just adds a level of intention, a level of care that can be very supportive for our well-being and our meditation practice. And then as many meditation people, guiding people through meditation mention, having a regular routine is or can be very supportive. That regularity, even if it's not long sessions, but just a regular practice. And if we have a regular practice, let's say we regularly sit for half an hour, and then something comes up that we can't quite make half an hour, I just encourage all of us to not just pack it in and give up, but okay, I'll sit for 15 minutes, or I'll sit for 10 minutes, just to make that intention to pause, stop, pause, take those minutes. I caught myself this morning, because right now we're not having our morning meetings, and I was up quite early, but I also had quite a long to-do list today, and I caught myself seriously considering just getting dressed and cracking into work, cracking into answering emails and doing what I needed to do. And I am glad I caught myself, because I said, no, at least take half an hour. Take some time. So I sat in the meditation posture and listened to a Dhamma talk. To take that time to set the tone for the day, listening to Dhamma, sitting quietly. But I know in the past sometimes I haven't caught myself, and I've gone straight into tasks. It's nothing wrong with it. It's not evil, but it's, I think, for myself, less useful. So here we are, wherever we are physically at the moment. We're all, in a sense, we're all here. Our focus is here into this space, even if we're watching it on our computer or phone. So try and find a posture that's relatively easy to sustain for the next while, whether you're sitting or standing, whether we're on a chair, stool, bench, cushion, floor. And without getting caught up in intellectually, just check in internally how you feel. Tired? Energized? Is there pain in the body? Mentally, emotionally, just in as simple way as possible, just check in. Are we at ease? Agitated? Excited? Anxious? Bored? And whatever we perceive, because these are just that, they're perceptions that have a feeling tone to them, painful, pleasant, or neutral. Whatever is there at this moment, just recognize that. And if possible, recognize it in a non-judgmental way. Just be more the observer of that feeling tone or that whatever's present. You're interested, but you're an observer. You're the observer, not wrapped up in it or entangled in it. If we've had quite active time, especially over the last few hours, whether we're in this time zone or another time zone, there's going to be a very strong possibility of sort of echoes of our activities, conversations in particular, sensory contact, what we've seen, heard, smelled, tasted, touched. Maybe we've had to think a lot during the day, complicated things. So these all can leave an echo or a sense impression. They're fresher in our memory. So I think it's quite natural that those will possibly be lingering as we sit down now, as we pause or stop now. That's natural. But if we take the kind of the view or the position of being the observer, that taking that step back and observing what comes into consciousness, that can help us change our relationship with experience. Can loosen our grip on experience. Loosen the grip of trying to hyper-manage or control, overly control experience. Take a step back, observe calmly, feel whatever feelings arise calmly. Now we'll go into a period of silence. Perhaps using the gentle breathing process of the body as a focal point, a place to rest our attention, to place our attention on the breath entering the body and leaving. You can use whatever part of your body is most comfortable to notice the breath. Wherever it's obvious and easy to track. Just simple, just breathing in and out, not changing the speed or depth of the breath, just noticing as it changes on its own. So that if we have a place to rest our attention, it can be very useful, because we also then, if we realize that we're no longer following the breath, that we become distracted and the mind has gone out, it's good. It lets us know. We realize, I'm no longer with the breath, so I'll go back to the breath. So we gently return to the breath, and this is very natural. This is actually the exercise, this training, noticing, returning. So we'll do this for the next minutes. observing the breath. But in an open way, not overly fixated or focused in a tight way, but just you're observing when the body is breathing in and breathing out. It's just that simple. And other things will be perceived. Perhaps you'll hear something. In this hall now we have incense burning, so I can smell something. So we are also, when they enter consciousness, those things, we are observing that they're there. And we can be aware of more than one thing at once. Aware of the breath entering the body and aware of my voice. It's not to make anything out of that, it's no big deal. But just that simple observing, noticing. Perhaps for many of us, we've begun to learn how to meditate, to quote-unquote be peaceful or get peaceful. And that's a lovely intention, I think. However, I think it's important to consider that there's different ways of viewing what peace really is. Many valid ways of considering that. Is, for instance, peace that where everything is the way we think it should be, the way we want it. Everybody getting along, peaceful weather, peaceful society, peace in the family, no squabbling, everything going smoothly. That is peaceful. and very nice. But my understanding is that the Buddha was pointing to a very different peace. It transcends those conditions, whether people are getting along or not, whether the weather is calm or turbulent. And keep going down the list. It's a peace with no boundaries. It's a peace that encompasses all of the things that enter our awareness through our experiences. It enters our consciousness, that becomes observable. It's the peace that knows pain, but can remain spacious and aware and unentangled. Totally feeling that. It's not numb. It's not going numb. It's not going blank. But it's the peace that can hold the highest pleasures and the most severe pain. It can hold it with awareness and equanimity. It can experience it with awareness and equanimity. So this is a peace with no boundaries and no conditions. Easy to talk about. In some ways quite simple, but not easy to necessarily wake up to realize. So we begin in a humble way, doing exercises like this, learning how to be the observer, learning how to become more aware, develop an ability to see this quality of awareness, or this reality of awareness, which is really always present. It's always there when we turn to it. We just need to learn to recognize it and to notice when it becomes obscured with sensory impressions and contact. To be aware when the mind is filled with joy and gladness, and to be aware when the mind is filled with chaos, turbulence, and then whatever falls in between. So the awareness and what is in awareness are two different things. Awareness and the objects in awareness. objects keep changing, the content keeps changing. This and that comes and goes, lingers, goes, short time, long time. Sights, sounds, smells, tastes, things that we touch with our body, thoughts, feelings. And we're aware throughout. Yeah, we can get distracted. We can get jumbled up in the content and lose that sort of mindfulness. But as soon as we realize what we're doing, that awareness, that reality of awareness is there. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's like the sky. These clouds blow through, birds, planes, helicopters. The sky is always there. We just lost sight of it. It didn't go anywhere. One of the meditation masters of the last century in Thailand encouraged people to really try to discern between mind and objects in the mind. It's so simple. The mind that knows anger is not anger. So that awareness, that quality of awareness or reality of awareness that's aware of anger is not anger itself. Anger comes and goes. Same with joy. The mind that knows joy is not joy itself. Joy comes and goes. So that knowing, aware, conscious, these words can be interchangeable. And then we start to see the ephemeral, changing, transient quality of all things. Let's go back into a period of silence. Perhaps using the breath again as our gentle anchor. A place to rest our attention. practicing like this in a controlled environment, spending some time each day becoming familiar with this practice and this dynamic of the mind, training ourselves to change our relationship with sensory experience, developing this spaciousness, this acceptance of what's present. It doesn't necessarily mean we approve or like it, but just the acceptance that at any given moment what's there. Joy, sorrow, whatever is pleasant, painful, neutral, irritation, delight, and really feel those things and know them for what they are. But by practicing in like this, and then over the time, we can develop this more unshakable way of being, a way of being equanimous with the flow of life, at peace with whatever is present, at peace with what we want, at peace with what we don't want. And the ultimate is to develop this unshakable peace, unconditional peace. Then no matter what conditions are present, everything going the way we want, some things not the way we want, everything going quote-unquote wrong. If we fully develop this practice, then we can be with all of it. And not lose our center. To experience the highest peak of joy and not lose our center. Not get drunk on happiness or completely covered over in some negative mind state, heart state. We can still maintain clarity, feeling these things fully. Feel the highest joy, feel the lowest, deepest pain. But we're there and we're centered, able to adapt and respond fully as a human being. Respond compassionately for others and ourselves. Respond with kindness. Unshakable, unconditional peace. no longer needing to be in our comfort zone. So whether we're in our comfort zone or outside of our comfort zone, doesn't matter. We can transcend the need for either one. Comfort, discomfort, we're okay. As we close this session of meditation, just once again encourage all of us to develop that steadiness in our practice, regularity in our practice. Once again, keep it humble, keep it simple. Not trying to get or attain or acquire. Not trying to get rid of, but developing this attitude of openness, boundless awareness.